It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor. Welcome back to episode 244 of the Trading Stocks Made Easy show or podcast, whichever you prefer. You know, it's so interesting having done over 200 episodes of this particular show, because if I am gone for a week and we don't have a chance to post, you guys really let me know, which also lets me know that I have a connection with you and you have a connection with me. So when I do one of these shows, it's really about you and I having this connection. And some people like the show for motivational purposes. Some people like it for educational purposes, like when I talk about trading options or fast money volatility trades or the time of year when a particular trade is in. And some people like the show just for comfort because it's stock market talk. I know my favorite part of doing these shows is when I get to interview my students and they talk to you about their struggles, their inner work that they have to do in their mindset so they can create residual income from their stock market portfolio. Well, with that in mind, I started to think about the hundreds of success stories that I get emailed on a regular basis for the Wealthy Investor Program. Today, I thought I would share with you 3 of my favorite stories of people who now trade, make great money, have changed their lifestyles as a result of this program. So, quick little backstory. I was on television for 35 years in movies and commercials as an actor, which most of you know, which gave me extra income. When I had that extra income, some people said you should learn how to invest money. And then I learned how to trade and invest in the stock market. I started initially with real estate. I did not like it. But when I bought my first stock and the software sold it for me, I was hooked. So I knew I was on to something and I wanted the world to know about it. I didn't know I was going to be a stock market teacher, guru, or what we call today an influencer, but I just knew that it was this thing that I loved and I had a natural enthusiasm for spreading the word. Well, I realized quite quickly when I taught a few classes on my own with 12 people in a room that I can change people's lives. And I could change it through their thoughts and communicating the principles that are now the foundation of the Wealthy Investor Program. And shortly after teaching people how to trade, I started to hear stories of, hey, I made $6,000 last month thanks to you, and I want to do it again, and I'd like to live this way for the rest of my life, which I had already decided for me. So those stories were so heartwarming and so new to me, it fed my motivation to grow my business and my practice. And I want to share with you in this particular episode a few stories that really had an impact on me, that surprised me, and I knew I was performing a valuable service for you and I. Okay? So one of the first stories that was ever told to me, I started teaching in New York on Thursday evenings in New York, in Midtown. And one of my students at the time was one of the producers of the Chinese news in New York. And she was very successful in the industry and then took her skills because she wanted to do something for her community and the world that she came from. New York was a very diverse city and still is. And she became one of the top producers of the Chinese news that was in production out of New York. She didn't have a lot of money. Maybe I'd say probably maybe $50,000, $75,000 she had saved up in a mutual fund. But the story's not really about her. It's about her parents. Her parents were working class and they retired and they had about $55,000 in their savings. She became familiar with covered calls and she started to perform covered calls for herself and liked it. She also said to her parents, hey, I'm taking this class where I'm learning how to trade stocks online, and I think I could produce some income for both of you, mom and dad. Now, here's where the heartwarming part of the tale starts. Although her parents had a little bit of money left over, the thorn in their side, if you will, was the monthly heating bill during the winter. Her father had become older. He was a huge Mets fan. So the one thing she would do for her father is buy extra blankets. And she got him at the time, as we called it, a big screen TV, so he could watch the Mets. And during the winter, he would put on the layers of blankets and he'd watch the Mets, and that's how he would stay warm. And it was simple pleasures. Well, what she said was, if you just give me 90 days, let me trade this money in Dow stocks. The money that I produce, the cover call premium, I will then, I think I'll be able to cover the heat. So winter rolls around. We're 2 months into winter. And this producer comes up to me after one of the classes and she says, I just want to shake your hand. I know I say thank you to you a lot, but I just want to shake your hand. And I said, well, thank you. Why? And she says, well, my parents now have heat in the wintertime because the fact that I am trading for them, and it's all because of you. So therefore, my father has the big screen TV and he only has one blanket. I said, one blanket? Well, we would keep the heat down and he'd be under layers of blankets. So my parents have heat in the wintertime because of you. Now, in retrospect, I'm like, what are they doing during the summertime? But that wasn't the point of the story, was that she was now able to afford heating because she got a financial education and she joined the Wealthy Investor Program. Now, for some people, you get an automatic, "Aww," right? And other people go, what's the big deal? It's heat. Well, as someone who didn't grow up with a lot of money, let me tell you something. When you're cutting corners just to survive, it's a big deal. And I never forgot that story. And I never forgot how much it meant to her parents, who to this day are people that I've never met. So when we start trading and investing in the stock market and taking in dividend checks, cover call income, and volatility profits, we can not only help ourselves, we can help people that we love, which I talk about all the time on this show. You see, trading and investing is not just for you. It's about how we can help other people. My second favorite story that stays in my mind is a woman who studied trading in Florida and who came from another country, got married to someone she met at a high-level university. Their marriage lasted for 20 years. At the end of 20 years, she decided she no longer wanted to be married to him, and ironically, her husband no longer wanted to be married to her. But she was in the business of helping kids with disabilities. So her professional life, although fulfilling, wasn't financially rewarding at a 6 or 7 figure level. So she figured she'd stay with her husband, they'd raise their 2 kids, and that's how life would go. Well, when they decided that they were ready to divorce, the house that they bought was now worth well over $1.5 million. So when they sold it and they split their asset, as most people do when they get divorced, after taxes and fees, she had $500,000. She was courageous enough to put a little bit of money on the side, but to take that $500,000, most of it, and trade it in the stock market, where she still earns between $10,000 and $20,000 a month. She is now doing what she loves, planning to write a book, but she has financial security. Why? Because anytime you create a residual income stream of $10,000 to $20,000 a month from trading in the stock market outside of your primary profession, what happens? You change your life. Because in effect, you've just created another $200,000, and you can trade on vacation. You can take vacations with the premiums that you generate. If you're holding stocks using the investment side of your portfolio, you're getting wealthier automagically. I love these stories because, life is hard, right? I think we could all agree with that. We all have our challenges. We all have unforeseen circumstances we never anticipated, and that is also known as adversity. Well, when you face adversity and you have residual income, you find out what's inside of you. You see, most people in life don't make great choices financially because they don't have a financial education, and no one in life teaches them the significance of learning how to trade and invest and how the financial markets work. So most people are on that wheel, that 9 to 5 wheel, and they don't know how to get off. The people who've come to my program, whether at WI Trade School or have discovered stock market trading on their own and choose me as their leader, as their mentor, learn a whole new way of life. As I've said many times, you can't pass on a financial education you just don't have yourself. So, when you find a $200,000 revenue stream, you can now pass that stream or the education of how to create that stream on to future generations. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about being the wealthy investor, is that I have a chance to be a part of your life, and I have a chance to change your life and your family's life by encouraging you to look at the stock market and participate on a regular basis. I would love to be able to tell your story right here on the next Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast, and maybe I'll get a chance to do that. Back in a moment with more heartwarming and important stories about people I've had the opportunity to help, and it all starts with listening to this show.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't understand how to write covered calls for monthly income? No problem. Simply review Tyrone's latest stock trades in our video library as many times as you need. WITradeschool.com is all about helping you get the financial education you need to earn money in the stock market and change your financial life. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
And we're back today talking about heartwarming stories that I have learned about and helping people. So this is probably one of the most shocking stories I've ever heard. And this came 3 years ago in Maui. So let me explain. You know that we meet in Maui once a year to expose my students to the 5-star lifestyle and how that can become a normal part of your life if you use advanced trades. Now, a regular stock trade would be simply buying, let's say, Microsoft at $425 a share and telling the software to sell it when it reaches $427 a share. That is a kind of volatility trade, or as some people describe, it could even be considered a momentum trade. Okay? All right. But if I can place that same trade and I have a bear call spread on as well as an in-the-money leaps, that simple trade now has 3 ways of making guaranteed residual income. And if you match your strategies up together, there are no limits as to what it is that you can earn every single month in the market, because no matter where the stock goes, whether it rises or declines, you have trades that pay off in either direction. Okay? All right. So when we're in Maui and people have a chance to see me on stage for the first time, and I'm glad to see them, it always takes a little while to adopt. So the first day is usually filled with a series of exercises to make sure we're all on the same page and we all understand the methodology that we're employing. The second day is when we start to introduce advanced strategies. And by the end of the second day, once we come back from lunch, I put some of my favorite students on stage to talk about their experience, advanced strategies, and how they use them. Well, about 3 years ago at one of our Maui events, do you sense the smile coming up now? At one of our Maui events, a question or a series of questions were asked. How do you handle the ease and convenience of trading from home and just earning thousands and thousands of dollars? And so I went down the panel and I said, why don't we make that an individual question, and each person kind of gave their perspective on it. And then the next question, I hear this a lot. Do you ever feel guilty making that kind of money on a regular basis? And then some people had a spiritual response. Some people said, well, this is just how money flows through the system, and I'm glad I learned how to do it. And some people said, I still practice gratitude along with yoga every day. And everybody gave an answer that was right for them. That person then followed up with something I don't hear too often. They said, but how do you handle making $1,500,000 in less than 52 weeks? Silence. And even I was like, wait, you did what? Right? So this person, who was actually very nice and down to earth, actually made $1.5 million trading in their first year using the wealthy investor method. Now, obviously, they had either sold something or got an inheritance of some kind, but I don't think any of us were really prepared for that level of success because they were saying, I really feel guilty about it because I really didn't work that hard for the money. Okay? Now, when you're doing a show like this, I don't always know who I am reaching and who I am talking to. But that makes a difference in someone's life when they're able to actually put in their pocket $1,500,000 in their first year of trading. Now, I have to tell you, that is not typical at all, but it's starting to happen with more regularity. And I'll tell you why. Because there are a series of YouTubers these days who are teaching people how to make fast money with fast money trades. I realize I'm not a YouTuber. I am a wealth coach. I am here to teach you how to make money and invest that money so it multiplies over time, so it grows over time. So as a result, you're getting wealthier and wealthier instead of having 7 great trades throughout the year, right? I'd rather you be successful for the long term. And in order for me to help you do that, sometimes I have to coach you about your thoughts, the people that you're around, and how money works and how you can attract more of it into your life. Other times, I have to actually talk to you about the mechanics of trades and how the stock market works and its seasonality. But I've learned how to mix up that cocktail so that it all tastes good going down, and the result is people having success. So you and I getting together and listening to this show where I get to amplify, in this case, positive stories of change and negative stories that keep people stuck in a financial loop. As we unearth them, we are building our relationship together. And that's what I want to thank you for right now, for tuning in every week to this show to get some measure of mentorship and tutoring so that you can take your life to the next level. As I said right before the first commercial break, I'm hoping that someday, since you are loyal enough to wait for this episode to drop every single week, that you and I will meet and I will have a chance to tell your story and the positive effect I was able to have on your life. And there's a wonderful saying that says, teachers always teach what they need to learn most. I want to thank you for allowing me into your life to be a positive vehicle for financial change. So there's only one thing left to say. I'll see you next week right here on the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.